Hello everyone, my name is Jordan O'Brien. As Megan alluded to, I am a representative of Forced Trajectory Project, specifically in the capacity of reporter and photojournalist. And today I wanted to present through the lens of a theme, specifically interactivity in journalism. And why? Because journalism is an art of interactions, human interactions to be specific, of course. You are forced to go and ingratiate yourself within the community in order to report on them effectively and truthfully. And so when we are talking about interacting with family members, interacting with politicians, we need to get on the ground outside the comfortable confines of the classroom, might I add, and actually get out there and talk to people on their level. So I wanted to start by just highlighting this important lesson that I took away from Forced Trajectory Project, and that is journalism is advocacy. We are advocating for these families who have been impacted by police violence, a very traumatizing experience, as you might expect, by telling their stories truthfully and by hitting the ground and talking to them on their level, building that trust, which is most important when it comes to dealing with sources, as you know. So, as I said, I am a photojournalist with Forced Trajectory Project. This is one of my favorite photos that I took. That is family members. These are all the family members: Margie Day, Trinita Farmer, and Petra Wilson at a rally that highlights Martin Luther King's radical legacy back in January. So this is one of the areas that we immerse ourselves, one of the communities that we immerse ourselves in to tell their stories. Another is the street performers who I am directly involved with on Fremont Street, to be specific. That's Matthew and James, and they have their own little stories to tell as far as policing goes down on Fremont Street, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So to my objective that I doctored for this for this course, I should say, coalition building, immersion, workflow fluidity, and visual excellence. I'm going to talk about 1 and 2 specifically in more detail, because I think 3 and 4 speak for themselves. You need to have a fast workflow, you need to have visually excellent images. So without further ado, let's get into it. Coalition building. Now I'm directly responsible for linking Forced Trajectory Project with the March for Our Lives movement, first here in Las Vegas through Carl Catarata, a student activist here at UNLV. And we are now in talks with the Parkland kids. Wow, look at that. So this is March for Our Lives Las Vegas back in March, naturally, with Denise Hooks, activist, here leading the protest with Kaja Daniels of Black Lives Matter here at UNLV, in case any of you know her. And a reason why I think this is extremely important for a movement like this is because we must, as far as police brutality goes, if you look at the history of it, we need a national platform in order to gain the recognition that we need from politicians. And right now, where's the national momentum? That is, as everyone knows here, we're all journalists, the Parkland movement. So that's why we're talking with the Parkland kids right now, and that started through coalition building with people like Carl with March for Our Lives, Las Vegas. Building off of the notion of coalition building, turned this area of like reconnaissance. And by reconnaissance, I mean going and talking to elected officials, powerful individuals, and seeing where they stand on issues like police brutality, police violence. And so Eduardo and I went out and talked to Democratic congressional candidates back when we had our primary, and we wanted to ascertain where they stood. And we were very disappointed. They didn't know about the issues very much, and they didn't seem to care very much at all. This is the progressive favorite, Amy Valea, very far left, endorsed by Bernie Sanders and the like. She did lose to the more established candidate, Stephen Horsford. But that being said, we talked to all of them, Eduardo and I, and we have a piece out on our website. I apologize for the formatting error. Where do they stand? That's on our website, forcedtrajectory.com. So yeah, those are a few photos that we took. Second point, immersion. And by that I mean immersing ourselves as journalists within the community, like I said. I'll talk about that in reference to the Tashi Brown family. So we have a very close relationship with Trinita Farmer, mother of Tashi Brown, who was killed by Officer Kenneth LaPera at the Venetian on Mother's Day. So what did we do? We orchestrated an annual march to commemorate that individual, Tashi Brown, and highlight the injustice in regard to his case. So we had a march on the Strip that we coordinated. As you can see, there are several family members here, not just Tashi Brown's family. Rex Wilson, Rafael Olivas, and Junior Lopez, to be specific here in this photo. But it was a very large turnout, and here are a few more photos from that event with Trinita Farmer up here to your left, And there she is again at the right, reacting to seeing the Venetian for the first time since Tashi Brown was choked to death inside of the parking garage. Another thing we did was in Oakland. We went to Oakland to participate in the second annual National Network Gathering of families who have been impacted by police violence. They all gathered there, including Cephas Johnson from the Oscar Grant case, Fruitvale Station, very popular movie from once indie director Ryan Coogler. Now he's mainstream with movies like Black Panther, but he told that story of Oscar Grant. His uncle was involved in this conference here, and we had all of these families together to talk about solutions to this issue. Again, immersing ourselves with the community, getting down on their level, and telling their stories, very important. Jumping off of that, again, street performers. That's something that was a project I undertook. I spent 5 weeks down on Fremont Street talking to these street performers and their experiences with the police. They told me things like this 6x6 circle there, they can't exit that circle, otherwise, according to James, dealer's choice, the police officer in question can fine you or jail you, whatever he is feeling that day. And that sentiment was very much held by the majority of the individuals, street performers that I talked to, that there's definitely a palpable tension between them and the police and Fremont security officials there. And it is a problem, and we need to shine a spotlight on it. And we are that media source that covers that story. Again, we have that on our website, that story if you want to check it out. But like the Vegas Weekly, Review Journal, The Sun, they're not going to cover those stories, but we are. And that's what we have been doing so far. So yeah, building coalitions, immersing ourselves with the community, that's how we advocate for these families in regard to this very specific issue. So that concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Let's save questions for the end. I want to question
Absolutely.
all of you together. So, Eduardo, you want to jump in and do your part, and then we'll do a panel discussion.